Look at that. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. All right, after seeing what that thing does, I know where this belongs. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike and you're watching Triple T Acres, and in today's video we've got a new tool for my shop. And if you're somebody who does your own vehicle maintenance or equipment maintenance, this video is for you. So let's go inside and take a look at what we got. Okay, here is the new tool. Obviously, I've got to get it out of the box, but what's inside that box is an oil drain pan. Now, it's not your typical oil drain pan like I have over here. Now, this is probably the most common oil drain pan a homeowner is going to have, and if you do enough oil changes like I do, you know what I'm talking about. These things are not the greatest. If you're doing an oil change on a truck or even like my tractor here, there's a lot of volume of oil in those things. And they have such a small oil port here, and I seem to get oil all over my shop floors every single time I do it. And what do you do when the thing's full? You've got to either take it somewhere or put it in your old oil jugs, or you do what I do, and I've got a 55-gallon drum here that I store all of my oil in, and then when it gets full, I take it to a recycling center. But I've got to take that thing and hold it upside down, and even that makes a mess. But I think today, when I get this thing open and put together, you're gonna see that this totally changes the game, and it's gonna make it a lot easier. But without further ado, let's get this thing opened up, see what's inside, put it together, and then check it out. Okay, let's see what this is inside. All right, check it out. Now this is an oil drain pan made by Garvee. Now they sent this out to me to test it out and share my experience with you with no strings attached. They are not paying me to say anything about it, but they did provide this to me. But I couldn't be more excited about how this is gonna work. Obviously you can see this got a top grate here. The oil just drains right down in here. It has caster wheels and it has a pump that I actually pump this oil out of this into my 55-gallon drum. Let's get this thing out of the box, get it assembled, and then I'll tell you whether it was easy or difficult to put together, but it looks like it should be pretty easy. Okay, check it out, all put together. And I have a few tips to point out if you buy one of these and want to install it yourself. First off, the instructions suck. But if you're somebody who does your own oil changes, you're likely pretty handy and it's really easy to assemble. Some tools you'll likely need are some channel locks, a 14mm wrench, a 10mm wrench, a 14mm socket, a 12mm socket, a 19mm socket, 19mm wrench, and a Phillips screwdriver. That will make putting this thing all together very easy. The instructions don't really tell you that. But super easy, just the back casters. Those are the 19mm, and the front casters, if you see here, make sure you put the bolts up that way because the stems will get in the way of turning this wheel right here. The handle was super easy to put on. The hose was pretty much pre-assembled other than I had to put this elbow on here, and I just used channel locks to tighten that. They gave a little bit of the white plumber's tape that I put on all the threads to keep everything nice and sealed. But yeah, that is basically it. Super easy. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually take some of that old oil that I have in that old crappy oil drain pan. I'm gonna pour it in here and we're gonna test this thing out and we're gonna pump it into that 55-gallon drum and see how well this thing works. So let's do that. Oh yeah, something else I noticed on here, and I couldn't figure out when I had this, I thought this was just an extra piece in the box, but it goes right here, and I'm not 100% sure what it's used for. It might be if you want to drain oil out of something with a hose and put it in here, because it's still gravity. It looks like it goes on the inside of this down here at the bottom. You see it kind of comes that way. So it might be another clean way to get oil out of something, maybe something really high. But nonetheless, that was there. Not quite sure what it's for. If you know, let me know in the comments there. to figure out what the heck that thing goes for. Looked all through the instructions, couldn't figure that out. All right, so if I had to do an oil change on my tractor, this thing would just slide right underneath. And I could drain the oil right into that, and it'll hold up to 20 gallons of oil, which is awesome. Okay, we're gonna simulate an oil change here by dumping all this old oil out of this crappy, old-fashioned oil pan here. And you can see, I mean, this is how I would have to drain this thing before. You know, normally I would have to put this on top of a 55-gallon drum and leave it sit like that. Or if I had a used oil jug, I'd have to try to marry the ends together and drain it that way. I usually end up spilling it everywhere. Not anymore, not with this thing. So out with the old, in with the new. Get this thing covered up. Let's get it pumped out into the 55-gallon drum. Now, like I said before, this is 20 gallons. And if you really think about it, most oil changes on a regular car is about 4 to 5 quarts. So you can get almost 20 oil changes in this thing before, probably more like 19 oil changes, because you probably don't want to fill it clear to the rim, before you even have to take this thing and pump it out. If you got a spot in your shop you can wheel this thing to, you're in good shape. Okay, so now this is what's really cool. It has this hose here. Take the cap off my drum. Has a nice hook right there, and I've got an extension cord that I can plug this thing in. I want to make sure that it's off, and it is. All right, we're plugged into power. Now, moment of truth. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. There's a button here I'm going to switch, and let's see if it'll start pumping it out. Look at that. Sweet. Now I can help it too by leaning it up to that end. Wow. I mean, it is sucking it so fast. Shut her off. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Way easier than the other way. Looks like I did good with my clamps and there's no leaks on there. All right, after seeing what that thing does, I know where this belongs. Well guys, what do you think of the Garvee oil drain pan? I think it is a huge upgrade from the old way of doing it, and this thing is very affordable. And if you want one for yourself, I'll put a link down in the description, and there might be even a discount code there for you. And if you buy this thing with any of those links below, I'll receive a little bit of a commission, but it won't cost you a penny more. It just kind of helps the channel out to be able to do things like this and provide you with some entertainment and something that might be able to help you out in your shop. But guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of different videos on here, so watch one of these here to the side. But until next time, we'll see you in the next video.